following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
Well, as we continue the unknown tonight, the unknown of the iRacing Superspeedway, as we continue to find out who is the master of the draft, the 2024-2025 season, in the final leg of four, block of four, whatever you want to call it, pack of four. Don't call it a dozen of four because then that don't make sense. Anyways, we get ready to go here tonight. Gen 6 car at iRacing Superspeedway, where I will tell you this right now. The fastest speed overall in practice is literally hundreds of a mile per hour shy of 250 miles an hour average speed around this track. So let's get ready to put multiple cars out here drafting with each other on this 3 mile speedway. iRacing states it's in California. As per the captain's way of doing this, every time I've gone to the iRacing Superspeedway and broadcasted, I just go simply find a random place on Earth. So let's go in here to good old Google Maps. And we're going to scroll over to... I've decided to pick the state of Wyoming. Let's go into Wyoming and the town of Berkner Hill, Wyoming. That is where iRacing Superspeedway is tonight. Berkner Hill, Wyoming. As we get ready for 250 miles here tonight of racing on this 3 mile track. Qualifying officially going to start right now. And as per always, our qualifying presented by GB22 Designs. Joe Wells, big shout out to him for stepping up and helping out with GB22 Designs. 2 laps as per usual. You'll get your throwaway lap. And then the big lap is what will count here momentarily out of the 2. Of course, last week at Daytona, it was Greg Thompson Jason Branch going to victory lane with help from Greg Thompson last week in what was a pretty wild race. Will we see it again tonight? Well, only time will tell. Speaking of Greg Thompson, he is out on track right now. Problem is the cameras don't want to cut to my guy here. Let's see here what's going on. There we go. So it's cut to AJ Condon on track. This track, best way to put it, if you look at it, it's a oval that has the shape of Martinsville, literally with a paperclip. But the corners kind of have a Dover feel to them. You dive off into them. You don't want to hit the apron. And there's banking everywhere. So, like, that's where I say the track has some, like, Dover in it. Otherwise, it is, well, it's fast. Put it like that. We'll see who can win the pole award here this evening, and I'll even give you an actual time here when it's all over with, and we'll see who wins the pole at what speed. Shane Ward puts the time up there, 45.77. course, they're running a lot slower by themselves than they are out there in this draft, as Al Likens goes to a 45.76. Not sure how high these cars are going to run up the track. You see AJ Condon up about 3 grooves, which this track's all of about 7 or 8 grooves wide. So you can plenty of spread out here. As Likens 45.75 is the pole time for him as AJ crosses the line. And 46.14 for him. So yeah, you're going to get these Daytona and Talladega-like speeds, except on a 3-mile track. It makes the average that much quicker. Here's Joe Wells, the G Lightning number 3 Chevrolet, the Corvette paint schemes, if you will, back in the IMSA days that they run. Of course, they still run to this day. That and the World Endurance Championships, which I've been actually enjoying. Now Likens 45.54 now the pole time, as here's the Kona Brewing Company number 1 is Stephen Melnick. As Melnick jumps to 4th, Ryan Wilson to 2nd, Stephen Harry 45.45 goes to the pole as of right now. AJ Condon is 2nd with a 45. Everybody must run a lap in order to, 1, be eligible for prizes after the race, but 2, not have to start the race on pit road. Now, there will be 1 green flag pit stop that'll happen here at the start of the race, and let me just get into details on that situation due to the wildness of that race last week. Obviously, some penalties were issued. And as soon as I get to the right channel here. Harry still the pole sitter. Here comes Scott Wise off turn 4. Shane Ward will be that driver. Has to serve a green flag pit stop on lap number 1, which could be tricky because pit road here is pretty tricky to come off of, because you got to bring her off turn 4 and then bring it to the bottom where there's a transition, and you can get all types of sideways through the corner there. So it looks like right now Harry with a 45.44, and only person left to qualify here is going to be James Hudson. And matter of fact, since he is the last one to qualify, how much time we got out? 25 seconds. So he's probably not going to make it to the start-finish line. So let's go ahead and crown Stephen Harry, the 69 car, with the pole, a 45.45 on a 3-mile track, 237.62 miles an hour. The pole speed here tonight, which is, again, an average speed, which means they're topping off well over 250 miles an hour down into the corners. Big shout out to GB22 Designs for sponsoring the pole award won by Stephen Harry. We'll talk to him here in just a couple moments. But first, let's go into our pre-race show here from iRacing Superspeedway. This track, for those who don't know the history of it, if you were a player of the NASCAR Racing 2003 video game or simulator, whatever you want to call it, that game had a track called Coca-Cola Speedway. It was a 3-mile track. Well, it was asked for by a lot of the racers, and iRacing made its own version. And that's what this track is. iRacing Superspeedway. It's another version of that Coca-Cola Speedway from the NR 2003 days. Again, 3-mile track. Not a real track. Though if it was, it would be interesting. But let's take a look at the point standings here as we enter tonight's race. Of course, Jason Branch went to victory lane last week. However, he is second in points. Greg Thompson able to rack up a little bit more points than Branch was with the stages. And that's where Thompson has a 5-point lead over Jason Branch. Eddie Rowdy with a 3rd place finish last week is 3rd in points. Scott Wise 4th. And then you got to kind of look around here a little bit. I think some math got done wrong, or was the program there. Microsoft Excel didn't work well or something. But James Hudson's actually 5th in points. Joe Wells, Ryan Wilson there. Dylan Picklesheimer, Al Likens, Travis Gilbert, your top 10 there in the points after last week's race. Again, there will be a champion crowned for the Gen 6 here in just 3 weeks after the 500-miler at Talladega Superspeedway. Overall points, Joe Wells leads by 115 over Travis Gilbert. Shane Ward still out there in his own little island. Stephen Melnick now 4th in points, and then Jason Branch there in the 5th position as we enter this race here tonight. And then a new second place guy in the team points. TNT Motorsports has jumped up above the G Lightning Motorsports team. G Lightning Motors still leads by a lot. And then there's everybody else, basically. Win the battle for the team championship. Let's pull up the schedule here real quickly. We are down at the bottom now, March 25th. iRacing Superspeedway. Before next week, we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the final time, and then that big 500-miler we talked about at Talladega Superspeedway on the 8th of April. The finale here for the Masters of the Draft will officially crown the Master of the Draft. And I know by looking at the points, you might think, okay, it looks like Joe Wells has won that, but obviously anything can happen. Travis Gilbert can get on a hot run and be in contention potentially, but obviously it looks like about a 2-horse race overall. But still, anything can happen when it comes to the block of 4 races. Just see the fact that we have had only one repeat champion during those blocks, and that was Joe Wells winning the first 2 before Travis Gilbert got one. Of course, Josh McKinney. And then last season, it was the driver of Dylan Picklesheimer's. Cars get out there on track. Quick little meeting over with, and let's see if our pole sitter is here in chat for me to talk to. I mean, I'm going to guess that this guy that's pronounced Sherry is the pole sitter, because he's the only person in chat I do not recognize the name of. Which would make sense because Stephen Harry, Harry, Sherry, and I'm going to put 2 and 2 together and say, this is Stephen. Let's go ahead and check. Stephen, you got a copy?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I was wondering if Sherry was Stephen Harry put together.
Yeah.
I say your name and I keep wanting to do Harry from Home Alone.
Yeah, there you go.
But, man, Wade, great lap, obviously, coming out here, winning the pole of average speed of 237 miles an hour in this Gen 6 car. How do we keep this car in front and go out there and steal a win tonight?
Well, as long as I got my drafting partner behind me there, Mr. Thompson, we should be all right. Hit our marks and we'll be good.
Seems like the push, obviously, down these long straightaways is very important and allows you to carry, max speed. But I think it's very important and to be separated before you get to the turns, because it's almost like a sharp left you have to make going into it.
Yeah, especially if you're the pushing car, got to be careful because you will push up. But I think we'll be okay. We'll see what happens though.
Talk about how tricky it is. This is one I've been a victim of this corner on this track, and I know pretty much everybody in iRacing has had it. But talk about being that second car for a second, because you said you get that push, but it's very easy to undercut the corner and almost what's the best way to put it? Bottom out the car from getting into the corner too early.
Well, my experience of running this place, I always like to back off of them just a little bit before we get to the corner, so I can actually see it. Yes, so I can see it, and that way I don't overshoot it, and push up into the cars on the outside of them and cause a big wreck.
Seems like that's almost every wreck at this track.
Yeah, that's what I do. I always back off a little bit if I'm the pusher.
Fair enough, man. Well, hey, congratulations on the GB22 or GB22 pole award here tonight, and all the best. And maybe we'll talk in victory lane tonight.
All right, thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Stephen Harry, the pole sitter, Harry, winning the pole here this evening. For those who don't know, that's where Marv yells out Harry's name in Home Alone. That's where that joke comes from. All right, let's talk to Mr. Branch. Last week's winner here, Jason, you got a copy?
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Oh, not much, man. Obviously, big win last week with a lot of help from Greg Thompson. Just talked to Steven, who said he's got his partner, and he mentioned Greg's name. It's like, oh, interesting here. So how big is it going to be team-wise here tonight, especially for you guys there with Torqued Wrench to work together?
Well, I mean, it's a fast, tricky track. So, I mean, we're going to have to work together. Man, I just tried to do a pit stop for the first time coming off 4. I forgot how much transition that is down in the pit lane. That's going to be sketchy if we have green flag pit stops. But working together, yeah, I mean, we got 5 of us in here. So I'm hoping we can stay together. And, I really don't care who wins as long as it's as long as it's, the team.
I asked not Shane, Steven the question. I'll ask you the same question. Obviously, if you're not the first car in line, trying to get yourself into a corner here at iRacing Superspeedway is kind of blinding because you can't see the corner, and it's not one of those that sweeps in. You just have to hang a left pretty much to hit your marks in the corner. Talk about how tough it is.
Oh yeah, it's pretty tough, Chris. I mean, especially not only is it just a straight right hand turn that you can't see. There's a dip if you're on the bottom. So hopefully, if you're the second car, that first car moves out a little bit, about a lane or two up, and gives it a little more arc into the corner, and you can see the corner, and you can kind of miss that dip. Also, if you're the second car in line going into that corner, you got to lift a little bit. I mean, we're running 250 miles an hour in these cars into the corner, and if you don't lift as a second car, not huge, but you can't run at full throttle like you do at Talladega. And then when it comes to pushing, I haven't pushed a car too much yet, but Greg was telling me that you can really only push in this car. You can only push about a straightaway before it gets hot. So it's going to be interesting. I'm used to running, Talladega, Daytona, where you can push. If you need to, you can push for 2 laps. Here it seems like you can push a straightaway, and then you're done. So we're gonna have to really time our pushes good too.
That's going to be interesting, especially towards the end of this race. Well, the whole thing I hope for, just listening to what you just said there, is do not turn right when you get to the corner, like you said.
Oh yeah, well I might. You never know.
Hey, good luck, bud.
Hey, thanks.
Yes, sir. Jason Branch, the winner last week at Daytona. Hoping he doesn't turn right. He realizes I catch all the little things people say. All right, while these cars got here, run tandem just, you're seeing their right rear bottom out a lot here, which I think is going to be interesting tonight. Let's go trackside for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, cars are gridding as we get ready for 84 laps in 250 miles of racing here at the iRacing Superspeedway as we take a look at the starting lineup. Wrong button. Producers fired. Georgia's Stephen Harry wins the pole, 45.449 miles an hour. Of course, I rounded it up to 45.45 is an average speed of 237 miles an hour. AJ Condon will start on the outside in that Key City number 5 car. Greg Thompson, Travis Gilbert, row number 2. Ryan Wilson, Al Likens, row 3. Stephen Melnick and Scott Wise there, row number 4. Eddie Roarty and Shane Ward in row 5. Dylan Picklesheimer and the Daytona winner from last week, Mr. Jason Branch, will start there in row 6. Row 7, Joe Wells, Tim Shiflett, Josh McKinney, James Hudson, making up the 16 cars that'll be here tonight. Over in chat, you might see Bliss39 and myself having a little chat about the penalty for Shane Ward. I mentioned in chat what his smart move would be here for Shane. Shane starts back in the 10th position right now, which is in the outside lane. He gets the green flag. He needs to immediately fall to the back. And at that point, be in the bottom lane, so as soon as he comes off turn 4, he can back off and get down to pit road speed. All he has to do is get in pit road. And before the yellow comes out, and if he's able to pull that off, he should be okay when it comes to the penalty. It is not 100 laps tonight. It's 84. Once again, I'm about to fire the producer here. Breaks, or stages, I should say, 17 and 42. Tonight, again, there's no cautions for the stage breaks. But there you see the track. Like I said, it looks like Martinsville. Has turns like Dover. It banked really high. And you're going to see speeds of 250 miles an hour. There's no restrictor plates or tapered spacers or anything like that on this car. It is just fast racing here at the iRacing Superspeedway. 3 weeks away from crowning an overall master of the draft tonight. Arguably the biggest wild card of them all. iRacing Superspeedway. 3 miles of racing starts right now as Stephen Harry leads up to the green. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com as they dive it off into turn 1. In the, whatever that is, number 69 car. Oh, I know what it says. Never mind. I guess I can get away with it as long as you don't look at the innuendos in it. Big Johnson, number 69 car. And Shane Ward must be listening to me. He has gone straight to the back. Now let's see what he does here. He can stay at speed here, and then right about here, once it probably let off the gas, turn down. Going to be very tricky there with that transition. Get it down at 65 miles an hour. As he gets to pit road speed right there, as long as he's in. And no caution is out, which we're still green, so he is good. And will serve his penalty up front. AJ Condon to the lead. I mean, that's the best case scenario right there for him now, as he has come to pit road. These cars are going to draft. He's going to be out there by himself, which is going to be a lot slower. And then the only trick he has to worry about now is when he leaves pit road, because you have to go all the way to turn 2. And did I mention the apron is very flat in the corner, so you got to let out the gas and almost brake like you're at Martinsville through the turn. As here come the leaders at speed. As lap 2, Steven with Greg Thompson pushing, as he talked about a little bit potentially. You're going to see these cars bottoming out a ton on that right rear. It's like the sway bar's dragging or something. 24 there, that is Josh McKinney. Travis Gilbert, 22, of course, to Vet the Track, the sponsor of this iRacing, or I should say the Masters of the Draft, presented by Vet to Track. Big shout out to those guys doing big things, helping veterans get out there on the track. Is we ride with Eddie Rardy in the 33. As they cross the start-finish line here, that time by fastest lap, 42.82. Yep, that's officially over 250 miles an hour. Time right now, 252.2 miles an hour was that last lap speed by Joe Wells. 31, Scott Wise there in the bottom. He's got some help. McKinney there also with him, but everybody being kind of patient right now, running 2x2. Tim Shiflett has lost the draft back here in the 54 car, so not a good start for him. Now Shane Ward is about 3 seconds from being lapped. The good news here is he will be the only one to lap down. So worst case scenario, he gets in the draft with these guys, he can get up to speed and get the lucky dog if a caution were to come out. There's Shane right there. Now, the one thing this field has had a hard time doing here, it seems like this season, is lapping cars without wrecking. Not that we're wishing that to happen, but just always happen. Ryan Wilson already up 3 positions to second. Josh McKinney up 11 at the start of this race as we complete 5 laps. Already up the middle comes Josh. Plenty of room for 3 and 4 wide here. But low up the track, Likens into the wall. Shane Ward collects the 23. It was the worst case scenario for the 39. If he'd have been involved in a caution there, he wouldn't have got the lucky dog. Now Likens trying to hold on to the draft. Ryan Wilson off the pace now in that 23 car. Thompson going to swing by in the 08 car and lead himself a lap. As Wilson must have had wheel damage or something. He's come to pit road. Wonder if he'll use a quick reset here and get back out there on the track now. I believe there's 2 resets tonight for iRacing Superspeedway, if I'm not reading that correctly. I could be wrong by that. If so, Wilson's going to get one out of the way right now. Travis Gilbert had bet the track number 22 car. Where's the 22 on his car? Because the number of veterans that commit suicide every day, 22. That is too high of a number. Front 4 kind of separating themselves out before the side-by-sideness right here in the front. 13 of the 16 cars that started this race right here in the lead draft. Ryan Wilson, 14-second stop. He is back out on track. Just that one little incident there just a couple laps ago. Otherwise, everybody running pretty clean right now as we go single file front 5 positions, almost front 6 positions before Dylan Picklesheimer jumps to the outside in that 12 car. Oop, almost that inside lane, that bump and that dip basically that we talked about in turn 1 almost sent a couple of cars up the track there. Ooh, door bang there between the 1 and 12. You're going 250 miles an hour on a long straightaway, and then all of a sudden a 90-degree left-handed turn pretty much shows up. You got to be ready for it. And watch how quick you turn here. You see how that 2 car kind of porpoised up the track a little bit. It's so tricky around here. On board with Dylan here in the draft. Maxing out 250 miles an hour into turn 3. Contact almost there is, you got 1 car blinking on the bottom, the 2 of Hudson. Otherwise, the 5 of Condon trying to go 3 wide there, gets pushed up the track a little bit by Branch. And already 10 laps here, caution free. Going to 17 before we end stage 1. Now the front 8-9 cars, single file here for a split second. Oh, clipping the apron, the 12 into the wall. Roarty and the 31 of Scott Wise both hit that apron. That's what we talked about earlier pre-race, how you can hit that apron. You just miss the corner a little bit and you shortcut it. And that's exactly what happened to 33 and to 31, getting up into the 12 and kicking them up the track. Oh, look at this mess. Joe Wells with some damage. He must have gotten the wall. So starting to see a lot more cars missing the corner, it looks like, and shooting up the track into another car. Remember Al Likens earlier? Got nerfed up the track, or I should say nerfed somebody up the track. He's regained his composure and sits here on the outside going for the lead with help from the 2 car of Hudson. It's just like that, the pack comes right back together. Appreciate all the viewers hanging out here tonight. Feel free to share the stream out to your friends and family who like to enjoy some iRacing broadcast. National Association for Stock Car Virtual Racing. The Masters and the Draft Series presented by Bet to Track, helping veterans get back out on track. Do some motorcycle racing on a specialized track. A really cool deal. Appreciate what those guys do to help out the series. As a title sponsor here. Got some people wanting to be at the front, others just kind of hanging out a little bit there. Joe Wells and 3 of them just kind of hanging tight back there. You see Picklesheimer back there. He's trying to push McKinney. Those two have lost the draft. Of course, how do you push without overheating a car? You almost have to do the old tandem push for those who weren't on iRacing back in the tandem days. Basically, you would push somebody down the straightaway, and well, you'd probably have to switch each corner here with the car overheating and get back single file and start pushing some more. Back in the day, it was like the classic Superspeedway race where you would do the microphone and say, switching 1, switching 3. Oh. 2 laps to go in stage 1. Thompson looking to the outside of Likens. Gilbert looking to go up there with him. Likens with some help from Eddie Rardy, but not much help. There's Melnick squeezing a 4 wide contact. And everybody's okay. Here we go, final lap of stage 1. See some G Lightning boys lining up on an outside. See if Gilbert jumps up there with them. 22 helping the 08. Sun's starting to come out a little bit as Al Likens jumps up top now. Thompson's out there. I don't think anybody's going to get to him. They get to the line, sure will not. Al as Greg Thompson gets himself a stage win presented by Wise Guy iRacing Graphics. Greg with his I believe second stage win now in this block of racing. So looking pretty good there in that 08 car with help from the pole sitter Stephen Harry. All right, lap 42, halfway point will be the end of stage 2. We will see pit stops here probably in the next 5 to 10 laps, which ought to be interesting. You saw the pit stop earlier that Shane made. This is not an easy pit road. Right there is how you get to it. Speed limit 65 miles an hour, but you got to come off of banking. And the best way to do it, you do want the car to be straight coming off the banking. You do not want to dive off in the middle of the corner. You want to get on the straightaway and then dive down. We're trying to keep that car as stable as possible. 5 cars in the outside lane, 4 on the inside, to 2 back there with Hudson. It's kind of fallen off. Melnick's lost the draft now. McKinney's got Picklesheimer back here. Shiflett's got a couple other cars. He and Ryan Wilson and Shane Ward have all... Uh-oh. Oh, I thought we had trouble here. I thought I saw Scott Wise heading to pit road for a split second, but there was some contact, I think. As Travis Gilbert, for the first time tonight, takes the lead. Oh, the Torque Wrench boys might have snookered Gilbert a little bit there. Thompson to the top side and Harry to the bottom, and gonna bring Scott Wise with him. Shades of Jeff Gordon in 97 in Daytona. And, Bill Elliott was leading with 4 to go, and old Jeff Gordon pulled the Hendrick teamwork move and gave them a top 3 finish. The top 10 cars are single file, or I should say single file, in the draft together here. 11th place Stephen Melnick, 10 seconds back. Josh McKinney and Dylan Picklesheimer all right there with each other. And then Tim Shiflett, Ryan Wilson, and Shane Ward all in a pack together here. So these guys can stay single file and push each other. I mean, they could potentially get back up there. And you see, as I say that, Melnick's going to get drafted by. Which is awesome. Oh, here we go with the pit stops. The Torque Wrench boys trying to get in. 65 miles an hour. Ooh. Here, lap 23. Do not want to get speeding. Got to be careful not to run over each other here, which a couple of them are actually going through pit stalls, which is, I guess, one way to keep yourself from getting ran over. Because when you're in the pit stalls, you're pretty much invisible. 4 tires and fuel, and what has been one of the rare green flag pit stops we've seen in this series. But good for these guys to be able to do it. And every single one of them, 14.4 to 14.8. Right in that range, all 4 of them. Great stops. And they will leave together. Now the fun part of trying to, well, remind themselves they're at Martinsville here on the apron. Sharp left-hand turn. Stay off the track. And from here, you get up to speed, cross the line there, and you can jump back up on track. So Joe Wells now leading here. Not sure how much longer these guys can go. See the run. Look at that. Gilbert going right to the front. And that might be some teamwork right there. With Wells maybe checking up that inside line to get Gilbert around him. And now the G Lightning guys running 1-2 as Melnick, McKinney, and Picklesheimer, sorry, come to pit road. Here on lap 25. Look at this. Whoa. Might be some contact back here. See some smoke. Wells about ran over Gilbert as they come to pit road. I almost spewed water out of my mouth when I saw that. Nice job by Wells to avoid the 22, but here comes the rest of the field pretty much on pit road. Oh, Wells overshooting his pit stall a little bit. That's going to hurt him. He might need to go to 2 tires here. Yep, Wells 2 tires, it looks like. No, it looks like they all went 4, it looks like. Never mind. I stand corrected, but Wells going to be in trouble here if he's not able to get to somebody. Trying to throw out a anchor out there to see if somebody will grab it. As here comes Wise and the guys. Gilbert and by getting up to speed, but 250 miles an hour compared to just over 200 now these guys are getting up to. It's going to take a little bit here. And Scott Wise to the lead here, lap 26. At least 2 more stops going to be made in this race if we stay green. Unfortunately for Joe Wells, he and AJ Condon have lost the main pack now. They're 5.6 seconds back, so now the top 8 cars, along with some lap cars, run in this pack. There's your leader, Scott Wise. Greg Thompson, second. Jason Branch, third. Travis Gilbert, Stephen Harry, your top 5. Al Likens, Eddie Rorardi, James Hudson, AJ Condon, Joe Wells, your top 10. McKinney, Picklesheimer, Melnick, Shiflett, Ryan Wilson, and Shane Ward. Ward and Wilson are now, seeing them as 2 laps down. They've actually lost another lap with the pit stops there, so a tough break for those guys, and now they're really in trouble when it comes to needing a yellow to keep themselves in the running of this race. And here's where Gilbert might be in trouble. He and Ryan Wilson are going to have to work together because that's 4 torque wrench cars up here at the front. And I don't know if they're going to leave each other's bumpers. They need Likens and these guys to be able to draft up here. On this Tuesday evening. We've had a great start to the week. And what actually becomes the last week of March already. Oof. Likens' fastest lap last time by 42.79. And how about this? A top speed, got it over here on my chart, of 260 miles an hour. He obviously caught the draft of that last car in line to that first pack, and that's what allowed him to suck up there. for those wondering how fast 250 miles an hour is, I believe that's the close to being the recorded time that Jill DeFerrin had, the late great Jill DeFerrin had in a lap at Auto Club, which I think is the fastest closed circuit lap of all time in a kart car. I think it was a kart. It might have been an Indy car, but I know it might have been a Kart World Series Indy car. But then also, I believe one of the fastest laps ever at Le Mans before they had the chicanes. I believe a car was 252 miles an hour or something like that. So AJ Condon and Joe Wells, those guys 11 seconds back now. Josh McKinney 10 seconds back from Joe. So these two here about a half a track back. And you got these two that are about a quarter track back. Tim Shiflett has joined in to this lead draft line. Ryan Wilson at the tail end of it. Shane Ward, on the other hand, is just living on a prayer right now for himself in 16th position. Who actually got himself a win at this iRacing Superspeedway earlier this season. His only win so far of the campaign. Obviously doing a pretty good job. But now Al Likens with a little bit of help from Travis Gilbert trying to get that outside line rolling. Eddie Girardi up there in that top side along with Jason Branch, who ironically is a teammate to the bottom three guys. So don't be surprised to see him maybe jump in line with the other three here as he gets there. The 36 laps in the books next time by. And only 6 laps to go in stage 2. This race is just flying by. Haven't seen a yellow yet. Everybody's been fairly clean. A couple of little whoopsies going into the corner. But everybody's kept the car straight. Come up on the back of Stephen Melnick and put him a lap down in the 13th position. That one car is Eddie Girardi, the third place finisher from last week, looking to get himself a win this season. That's the 33 car up front. Come to 5 laps to go here this time by. In next 2 weeks, the final 2 weeks of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway next week, and then Talladega to finish it out on April 8th. Now, first group's doing fairly well. They've done a good job working together. I mean, there was a couple of little whoopsies and beating and bangs and stuff like that, but they've done pretty well here. If these guys could find a way to start working their way in, I think they're maybe starting to, because you got, what, Wells and Condon and McKinney here, or I'm sorry, Shane Ward. And it's just a matter of how close can you get to push the other car. Laps to go as Gilbert now back to the front. So who's going to get the stage 2 win here, which would be a big 10-point bonus. That's in what I feel is going to be a very tight championship here, this last block of racing. And for Gilbert in the overall point standing, Joe Wells is 10th. And with Gilbert leading, it would be a big 10-point bonus and a +9 gain. Already not going to leave the back bumper of that 22 car. The question going to be, when does Scott Wise, when does Greg Thompson, those guys 3rd, 4th, and 5th on back, when do they make this move? Because you got a team of 3 right there behind a team of 2. You see already the outside line trying to form up a little bit. And here they go. They're jumping to the top now. Final lap of the stage. As Thompson pushes Wise around. Gilbert trying to get up there and side draft, but the side draft a lot stronger in an outside lane in this car. They all but clear all 3 cars, but unfortunately for Harry, he just got hung out to dry. And now around goes Al Likens back there spinning. Al Likens spins as they race to the start-finish line as Scott Wise will get stage 2. Presented by Wise Guy iRacing Graphics. No caution as nobody's back there near Al Likens as he comes to pit road. Now let's see if we get a replay of what happened to Al. The National Guard 25 car. Flips the apron right there, gets a little free. Oh, and then he and some net code with Ian Melnick. Oh! I mean, that was terrible net code. A tough break for the 25 car. We had the first group hit at lap 22. So here we are at lap 44. That's 22 laps. So get ready to see, I think, more green flag pit stops here in the next 2 or 3 laps. Lycan did, it looks like, take a reset, and he is back out on track. So unfortunately 2 laps down now for that 25 car. As here comes the Torque Wrench group. 65 miles an hour. 3 of the 4 this time as Stephen Harry actually stays out. More tires and fuel, and everybody rolls away. Travis Gilbert now to the front. Eddie Rardy, James Hudson, Stephen Harry. Harry not officially a part of this pack. He has actually lost the draft now, so that's really going to hurt him. This pack is going to get smaller and smaller. Of course, this pack gets smaller. Speed's kind of slowed down just a little bit. So the good news for Steven is there's cars behind him that have kind of some little packs going here, and I'll tell you this, the more this pack falls apart, the other packs gain cars, they'll catch back up, which could make this race interesting towards the end. As Stephen Harry pits by himself now in the 6th position. Josh McKinney, Dylan Picklesheimer also on pit road here as we wait to see when these leaders are going to pit. Well, there goes Steven out of pit road right now. McKinney and Picklesheimer in. So is Stephen Melnick. AJ Kahn and Joe Wells now to pit road. So that leaves the top 3 cars as they come rolling in right now. Last of the group to pit road. We'll see how everybody cycles out now. Looks like 4 tires and fuel for all these guys here, so they're going to roll out. Let's see. Everybody comes rolling out. Jason Branch is going to be the first car, and that is him right there in a 28 coming to the start-finish line now. Now, Tim Shiflett's actually going to take the lead in the 54 here, but he still has to pit. But the first car with tires and fuel is going to be the 28 car that's coming through turn 2 right now. And let's see if Gilbert can get up to speed before they get there. Obviously a great stop by Gilbert and Rowaldi and those guys here. As here comes Branch and others into the pack here as Gilbert tries to side draft, get back in line. Here comes Scott Wise, almost 3 wide up the middle. These guys did everything they could to break up the lead pack. Or at least that group of Torque Wrench guys. So there's your front 5 right there now, officially. With 32 laps to go, as this race just flies on by. Unfortunately for Shane Ward, who had that penalty on lap 1 for what happened last week, this race has just not gone his way at all, as he runs 2.5 laps down now in 16th position. Show you where everybody else is here on track after the top 5. There's James Hudson. He runs, I believe, by himself here. He does have some help there with him. But there's James. No, I say that, never mind, he does not have help with him. And Stephen Harry's got Stephen Melnick. The Stevens working with each other back here. Melnick actually is a lap down in 13th, make that 2 laps down almost. And Harry there in the 7th position now. And here comes this group of Joe Wells and AJ Condon and Shane Ward drafting along with each other. If those 3 can pick up Melnick and Harry, that could be some help for them potentially. There's AJ, as I mentioned. Dylan Picklesheimer back here with Josh McKinney in the 10th and 11th positions. These guys are a long ways back, almost a full lap down here. So they've got a lot of work to do and some help needed. Tim Shiflett out here by himself a little bit. There's Melnick, as I mentioned. Al Likens back on track by himself after his hard contact with the wall. Ryan Wilson trying to help out Tim. And as mentioned, Shane in the group. So that's how everybody runs right now. Behind leader Jason Branch looking to become a repeat winner in this block of racing. For those who are the first time seeing this tonight, basically when I say block of racing, since, what month was it? August, I think? We have run 4 races in a different car. Basically 4 different blocks like Mario Kart. Started with the truck. I was trying to remember what car it was. We were in a truck. Easy Gilbert and Thompson coming together there. Then it was the next gen. And we went to the 87, to the ARCA car, and now, you know, the B car even was on there too. But basically 4 races in each block to crown an overall champion on the Superspeedway tracks. Daytona, Talladega, iRacing Superspeedway in Atlanta. Opinions obviously vary on those tracks. But we've gone to the 08 Daytona, by the way, too. On those different tracks and run 4 races each time. And where we sit is where we are now. We're in the last 3 races of the season altogether. Stage racing involved and bonus points and so on and so forth. And a big shout out to Bet the Track, the main sponsor of the series, of this Bet the Track Masters of the Draft series. Of course, Bet the Track helping veterans out on track on a closed circuit course, motorcycles and different experiences like that. Again, thank you viewers for hanging out on this Tuesday evening. Hopefully you've had a great week so far. Of course, the final week of March before we get into April, and a lot of people starting their spring cleaning already or getting their taxes all done. And then others are like, yeah, I don't do that kind of stuff. Up front here where Gilbert and Branch continue their side-by-side tussle with Thompson and Roarty and Scott Wise. So you got two of the G Lightning guys versus three Torque Wrench guys. .25 laps to go, and that lap there, I believe, led by Gilbert. These guys just cannot settle out. It's made some pretty good racing. Meanwhile, back here at 6th, I can't help but notice that line here is starting to make way on the leaders. Yes, it's pretty much 16 seconds, but as long as those guys stay side by side and these guys can stay single file, that line should cut into them. You do got one more pit stop coming up here, probably in the next 10 laps. That time by. And, ooh, somebody has spun to the inside of the track there. That is Picklesheimer who went off. He and McKinney apparently have had an issue. They've spun off track, so no caution. Something tells me they were trying to help each other, and, well, that didn't go well. Picklesheimer with a very torn up, or I'm sorry, McKinney with a very torn up car. As he goes up there, he must have a blown right front or something. Right in front of that car is not too good. That car's broken, is what it is. And McKinney's going to stop, and here comes Al. Oh, and there's the caution. Likens got close enough to McKinney to where the caution was fired. I'm sure there might be some not too happy people after that. But basically in iRacing, to get a yellow thrown on the oval, you have to get within a certain distance of a car. And you could, I mean, you can see the way the car is bouncing. Something's not right. And Josh stops right here at pit wall and toes, and there comes Al right there. And that apparently was close enough. Let's, if I can find the accident here in a second, but let's go on board with Josh's car. Something here doesn't look right because of, look at his wheel not moving. See how his wheel's moving? That's kind of just interesting. All right, let's see if we can find this accident real quick here. Already in action here, so let's just back it up here as the leaders come to pit road. Oh, the 12 blew up. And the 24 broken because of it. I want to see all this again. Yeah, 12's going to blow a motor right there. Boom goes the dynamite. And he's going to make some contact with McKinney, who goes up in the outside wall. The left front, I think, is broken, and now the right front's broken. So that car literally is broken. And Josh just tries to get it back to pit road. But the thing wouldn't turn. That's why the wheel wouldn't turn. So, makes sense to me, but I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Jason Branch going to win the race off pit road. Ian Gilbert and Thompson and Wise and Roarty and Stephen Harry. Big break for everybody here on the lead lap. Not sure if the lucky dog was Shiflet or if it's going to be Al Likens. I believe it's Shiflet. So the first caution at lap 60. Make that 62. This gives me an opportunity to take a drink of water. As we did get one to green this time by. Branch with his alma mater, high school, on his car. It'll be Branch and then Gilbert. Greg Thompson on the inside with Scott Wise. Eddie Roarty on the inside. He'll have Stephen Harry on his outside. AJ Condon, Joe Wells, James Hudson, Tim Shiflett, your top 10. And those 10 cars in the lead lap. Al Likens, the first car lap down at 11th. Stephen Melnick, 12th. He's a lap down also. Ryan Wilson, Shane Ward, they're 2 laps down. Josh McKinney, 3 laps down. Dylan Picklesheimer in the pits getting his car worked on. As we come to the green flag, and let's turn it up a little bit here for you. Cautions. In the back, AJ Condon. Josh McKinney involved, it looks like, also. Shane Ward involved. So his night just continues to get worse. Looks like the 5 heads on first. Let's see if we get a better angle at this. Let's go. Crash cam here. Corner. More net code. Added to the list of Hudson. Oh boy, netcode is on one tonight. Watch this right here. Plenty of space. Shane Ward, when it's not your night, it is not your night. Looks like Ryan Wilson actually going to get the lucky dog here. As I think Al Likens actually was involved in that accident. This race doesn't get flipped on its head here. Now with these 2 quick cautions here, hopefully we'll see a third straight one. We've seen a fantastic race, some great teamwork and great battling going on throughout the night. As Fet the Track Masters of the Draft Series. As pits open up here, let's talk to the, I wouldn't call him the boss man. We know who the boss man is. That would be Miss Lauren Wise. However, the boss man's husband, Scott Wise. Let's bring him up here. Scott, obviously, this race has had a couple of cautions here after some pretty wild racing at the beginning. A lot of teamwork and stuff going on. So how do we help out these teammates? I mean, you've got the win already here at iRacing Superspeedway. You want to get you guys up there towards the front, I assume.
Oh, absolutely we do. Been working real good together all race. Got a plan, got a little bit of a extra help tonight with Steve and Harry helping us out. We've all been leading laps, all been working good together, and we're looking to get our second win in a row here and keep up this TWM dominance in the Gen 6 car.
Is there a certain place you'd like to be when it comes to coming to the finish? Other than out front, obviously, is a low line a preferred spot? Is it outside? Where do we want to be?
Typically, the low line works well here as long as you've got your momentum built up already. Just because of the crazy wider radius that this track tends to have versus some of the other super speedways with the lines. But you still got to have that momentum, still got to have that push.
All right, man. Well, hey, best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Scott Wise there, Torque Wrench. Doing pretty well right now. So they have first, second, fourth, fifth. As we'll try it again here with 15 laps to go. Ace Truck slides its way off the track. Jason Branch leads him to the green. Surprised he didn't kind of time it out with his teammates to get them up to his outside there. They kind of fall back, and that's going to allow Gilbert to make the move to the outside lane here. And here comes the other two Torque Wrench guys outside lane. All of a sudden, Jason, second Branch had no nose all of a sudden. Outside, Greg Thompson. As here comes Joe Wells with Rorardi. All of a sudden, it's become a torqued road contact in the wall. And there's the broadcaster's jinx for Scott Wise as Shiflett and Rorardi get in the wall. Greg Thompson gets some damage too. I like who's involved in that one. A crash cam here. Looks like Rorardi and Wise off to come together. I want to see if Wise got loose off the bumper of Thompson. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It looked like. He was pushing Thompson. Looks like the bumper of Thompson almost sent Scott left. Is the way it looks. Let's look on board with him and see this again. We're gonna chalk this one up to me. Well, and Travis Gilbert going to go to the lead now as things really get shooken up in the Yahtzee Cup with 13 to go. We go, 60 laps of caution-free racing, and all of a sudden here, in these last 10 laps, it is 3 cautions strong. We'll get one to go this time by. Should get the green with 11 laps to go. And what has been a pretty crazy race. course, after tonight, as I've mentioned, 2 races left. Atlanta Motor Speedway next week, and Talladega to finish it out with a 500-miler. To crown the master of the draft, presented by Bet the Track. You see the logos there on the 22 car. Travis Gilbert, one of many veterans who are in the series. We always send our shout outs and appreciate all those who have fought for our country. Also those who fight for our country, continuing to do so now, and even those in the future that are going to make that decision to help out the country. Very much appreciative of them. As Green comes back out, Gilbert crosses the line, moves to the bottom to pick up his teammate. Getting out there pretty far, though, as we start to see that outside line come to work. Look at A.J. Condon back in this battle in that 5 car. Oh, Gilbert went up there to try to slow down that outside lane, and now he is stuck in the middle. Branchemout got turned sideways when that happened. And just like that, Gilbert went from 1st to 6th. Oh, well, that's teamwork right there, I'd say. So say if that wasn't Greg Thompson, Branch might have got sent to the moon. As look who's back out front, the pole sitter, Stephen Harry. Laps to go. Tim Schiffler, oh, 4th position. I was about to give him a shout out, and he about got turned. Ian Likens come together, and here comes the 2 of Hudson now. Everybody on the lead lap is in this lead pack. As they say, if you're in it, you can win it. Yeah, the 3-car pack up here in the front right now. The Pork Wrench guys working together here, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Gilbert about to pick up his teammate Eddie Rorardi. See Hudson's got some teammates there behind him with Al Likens, so we're going to start to really see the teamwork here with 8 laps to go. Likens got jacked up almost. .42.79 from Joe Wells, fastest lap of the race. I think that actually matches Al Likens' lap. Seven laps to go. Ooh, up the track, Melnick. Picking up some dust and everything back here. Gonna spread his pack out just a little bit here. Look back here, Scott Wise starting to lose the pack. He's gonna need some help. Wells trying to pick up the draft from his teammate Eddie Rorardi, and Melnick trying to hold on. But Scott Wise and A.J. Condon falling back, unfortunately, for them. They're going to need help over yellow. Are we going to see last week all over again? With Thompson pushing Branch, the difference is those Branch might be pushing Harry to the lead and to the win. Five laps to go. Again, thank you everyone for watching here tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself, and hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday night from Atlanta. Gilbert up the track a little bit here. We got to be careful of that net code. 2 of the 3 cautions we've seen tonight have come from that net code. I know iRacing's been working on it, but it's made an appearance here. And that 28 car not leaving the back bumper of the 69 car. And I'm just going to go and put this out there. It might take everybody behind Thompson working together to be able to break up these 3, or else they might be just cruising their way to victory here in 3 laps. Gilbert's trying to get up there. Here comes Joe Wells and Eddie were already with him, but they got to get closer to him. Here comes the G Lightning guys on the outside. They're there to the pack, 2 to go. And they side draft him back. Ooh, almost some contact. Gilbert with a big run off of 2. Radius coming off the corner. He's able to open up his wheel more and allowed the run to happen. Pinching down to 69. And Gilbert to the front. Oh, and Thompson's blowing up. The 08 has blown a motor with 2 to go. Coming to the white. Final lap. G Lightning with 1, 2, 3 now. Wells on the back bumper. Stephen Harry makes the move. Car scattered around. There goes the top 2. Travis Gilbert will survive and win. As Wells and Roarty and those guys go around. Gilbert gets it by 0.3 of a second over Branch and Shiflett, Scott Wise, and Stephen Melnick, your top 5. That was a vicious wreck at the end. Usually the G Lightning guys will come up here, I've noticed, and take a photo, but tonight that probably isn't happening. kind of parked there. Let's see what took place here. That was Wells was pushing to 22 here. Oh, Joe blew up. Harry ends up against a fence. Joe Wells blows up. That's what allows Gilbert the trip across the start-finish line to the win. And he's celebrating with a bullish victory lap. We take a look at the final results. Travis Gilbert is going to help him tremendously in the point standings overall, as he will jump up there and gain some points on Wells, especially with the stage win and stuff. Just double checking numbers here really quickly for Gilbert. It's his 6th win of the season. It locks up actually the most wins for any driver here for the 2024-2025 season. Branch finishing 2nd, Shiflett 3rd, Melnick 4th, Scott Wise 5th. They actually tied across the line. That ought to be interesting to watch. Let's go watch that real quick. We'll come back to the rest of the standings. Here's the wreck happening. Oh, and Melnick clips the 69 car. And I think, yeah, Melnick, I think, actually got Scott at the line there. That's close. Well, Scott might have got him by that nose he's missing. Top 10, James Hudson, Al Likens, Ryan Wilson, Josh McKinney, Shane Ward. Your top 15 finishers, with Dylan Picklesheimer finishing in the 16th position. You see the vet track on the car there. We'll talk to our top 3 finishers here. See, let's get Tim Shiflett, who gets a 3rd place finish. As for Tim, he is actually, am I not seeing him in chat? I do not see him in chat, actually. So we'll see if we can talk to Tim here momentarily. So we'll actually talk with our 2nd place finisher, that being Jason Branch, who gets a 2nd straight top 2 finish here. So great start to your final block of racing here for the season, but obviously just coming up a little bit short there, and it seemed like what looked like a good team plan kind of, should I say, go up and smoke in those last few laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to cool these cars down at this track. It seems like it's counterproductive. It seems like if you're out to the right, it cools off more than you're off to the left of the car in front of you. So I kept trying to stick my whole car out, behind Steven. Once you get to 285, you can't get it below 270. It barely drops at all. And so, we were running, and Greg kept saying, watch your temp, cool it down. Next thing you know, he said, I'm blowing up. I said, you're telling me to watch my temp. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. And then I thought we were had, because G Light was all up front, and then I guess Joe didn't watch his temps either. And if that would have happened on the front stretch, I think we could have got to Travis, but it happened so late that Travis just had to keep his foot in the gas. It is what it is. I'll take a second place and, stay up towards the top of the points. I don't know where it's going to go. I think Greg had more stage points than me, so we'll see where it all, files out. But, yeah, those last 4 laps were not what we expected it to be.
Yeah, the racing tonight might not have been expected either. I mean, the first, 60 laps green, and then you get 3 cautions in the next 10 laps, and then it just got pretty wild there. A typical Superspeedway race.
Oh yeah, we top 5. We were all talking. We had checked out. We were like 16 seconds ahead of 6th place, and so it was three of our team and two of Travis's team. G Lightning. So I think if it would have went green, it would have been fun. The side draft here is ridiculous. So the 2 cars on the outside can stay with the 3 cars on the inside, and I think it would have been fun if we didn't go get a caution. But it is what it is. We got cautions. Reset and do it all again. So at least we're done with this one, and we can go to a fairly decent track next. I mean, this is a decent track, but the drafting on this track is just unrestricted, and you can't draft like you would on a regular super speedway, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I know exactly what you mean. Well, still did a great job out there tonight. You and the team, I know it worked out for you, I guess, basically in the end. And a great effort. Send some shouts over you like too.
My team, Greg, Scott, we had Steven there tonight. They kind of had some all bad luck. I guess Scott finished 5th, so that worked out for him. But shout out to you. You're coming down to the end. You've done a heck of a job this whole time. As long as I've known you doing your thing, you're doing a heck of a job. And shout out to everyone back home, still running that hometown paint scheme. It's working out. Until it doesn't work out, I'm gonna keep running it. So go Bombers. And again, shout out for, I'll say his name this time, KC. Hope he gets better. I haven't heard an update in the last week, but so I guess no news is good news. So we're hoping he'll get back on the track sometime soon. And yeah, I guess we're going. I don't even know where we're going next week. Where are we at next week? Atlanta. So not really a drafting track, but a drafting track. That's going to be the wild card this year. This block. That's going to be the wild card, Atlanta.
Agree 100%. It's going to be a wild one. I thought this would be the wildest, and it kind of was. We'll see what Atlanta brings up next week. But, yeah, I second what you said with Casey, and hopefully he's feeling well and he gets a chance to watch. Otherwise, great job tonight, man. Congratulations.
Thanks. I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Jason Morant, 2nd place finisher here tonight. And just checking back, yeah, I think Shiflett has run out of the way. He gone. All right. Well, then, in that case, we'll go to Victory Lane and talk to our Vet to Track winner. Well, it's the Vet to Track driver who officially clinches the most wins on the season with 6 here tonight in a wild race there at the end. Travis, obviously, it was a lot of teamwork that came into play there, and in the end, it was a lot of the torqued wrench guys up front, but then here come your G Lightning buddies to push you to the front and get you to a 6th win this season.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. First and foremost, I got to thank Joe and Eddie so much. Today is my son Ethan's 21st birthday, so happy birthday, son. I hope you go and enjoy it. We're not planning on enjoying it until this weekend because he's got work. So, however, tonight we can celebrate it a little early. And I appreciate Joe and Eddie. Like you mentioned, a lot of the torque wrench guys were up there, and it was 3v2 for a long time there with Eddie and myself. So, really appreciate Eddie for sticking with me and working with me. And we were working the draft together. I knew I was working to try to get Eddie clear, so maybe we could ride in the bottom and be the leaders. However, I could never really get Eddie clear in that 3v2 situation. However, when it came down to it, Joe and Eddie got me clear and we won. It just was super bummer that Joe unfortunately popped his motor in the middle of turn 3 and 4 there. Sucks for him. Eddie did great all night long, and then of course it sucks for everyone else that was involved in it. So I really appreciate them and sticking with me. I have a great team at GL, and you said that I clinched the most wins on the season with 6. Definitely proud to. I think I've won in every block so far, including the Xfinity Josh won for me. So
I would say your car did.
yeah. So, right. So the 22 vet the track has gone to Victory Lane in every block this year, and that was on the checklist. And I really appreciate Josh for getting that win for us in the Xfinity block at Talladega. So really, man, Chris, we got such a great race team at GLM. It looked like we were going to finish 1, 2, 3 there, finally getting our mojo back together and everything. We were off for a while, and it looked like we were finally going to get it. And that just sucks right when it matters the most, right in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Joe lost his motor, man.
Well, we'll take the team hat off here for a second, because I look over at that battle for the overall championship. It's obviously you versus Joe. I know it's looks like G Lightning is going to win that no matter what, but you made some points up tonight, because you obviously had a 9-point advantage when it comes to the stage points, and then he finished 9th, you finished 1st here tonight, so gonna take a little chunk of change out of that 100-point lead he had.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know. I don't think there's enough races left. Joe and I are gonna work together. There's 2 races. Talladega is on my daughter's birthday, so I have every intention of winning that race, and it's the last race that you're broadcasting. So, other than that, it's just about teamwork. And Joe, I think, is so far out front. I mean, I don't want Joe to get wrecked, or I'm not going to put him in a position to get wrecked. Joe's a smart race car driver, and that's why he's got such a big points lead. So I'm not really focused on the points battle. I think Joe's got that wrapped up. I'm focused on, I don't really care about winning next week. I can help a teammate win, but I really love to win on my daughter's birthday and wrap up the season.
There you go, man. Well, hey, great job tonight. Congratulations. Obviously, going to vet the track Victory Lane here tonight. Obviously, they've been a big representative of you, and give them a shout out, and whoever else you want to shout out to.
Yeah, appreciate it, Chris. Thank you for everything that you do at Captain eSports Network, man. We're down to the final 2 with you, and after this year, it's kind of sad that this is the first year I got in the race and watch you broadcast and be a part of your interviews and stuff. Really gonna miss you, man. It's great racing on your broadcast. So first and foremost, shout out to you for that. I already gave Ethan a shout out, but happy birthday again, son. My mom, Louise, my friends, Terry and Tweet, they're on their way back from Florida, so safe travels to them. Godspeed. Joe Wells, thank you for the vet the track, Miller Genuine throwback paint scheme. Such a fast pleasure to drive these cool race schemes that he creates, and then vetthetrack.org, everybody can go visit them and go see what they're about. Jim Whittam, he's doing this mission on his own where he wants to go help veterans, and they're trying to stop the 22 veterans from, taking their lives, and that's why we race the 22. So it's a good cause. They're more into motorcycles. We're into four-wheeling over here. However, it's still the same. It's the laser focus, the hypervigilance, the team, the camaraderie. It's to get veterans and their families away from the everyday PTSD and the stressors that are building up to where a veteran, may want to consider that option. And we don't want that. There's a saying that we have 22 veterans committing suicide, so there is no more. We got to put an end to that. So this is a small platform. It's a small platform that I'm grateful to be a part of, and I'm sorry that we're going to be losing out on you at the end with your retirement, but there's going to be better things to the horizons. Who knows? Maybe you go hit up Jim and see what you can do for vet the track. And I urge anybody who loves their veterans or has a veteran or loves their country to go check it out. It's easy. Check out vetthetrack.org. Buy a mug, buy something, buy a t-shirt. Tell people about it. Every $500 gets a vet to the track to where they can experience the motorcycle. And it isn't just working on them at a Moto America race. The donations you make, they actually get veterans to what's called a track day, and it actually gets them hands-on out there with a teacher that knows how to ride. Sometimes it's Jim, but he'll humbly admit he don't know how to ride. But he'll put a lot of us to shame. So he's good at what he does. And really great guy, charismatic. So I think we, from what I can follow and see, I was one of the first people to go do it with him when we went to Road America with Carl Browning and myself. it's really changed a lot of veterans' lives, seeing their Facebook posts and the smile on their face and some of their families, you know, it changes the impact. It's not just the individual that vet to track changes by these events, it changes the family dynamic because that individual can come back home and they realize what it's like to live again. They have something, a purpose, a hope. A lot of us lose hope in life, and that's why we do some stupid things at times. And I've been a victim of that, or not just a victim, but I've allowed myself to go down that path. So I understand. That's why I urge and really appreciate everything that he does. And, you know, it's thank you for everything that you do yourself, Chris, and trying to promote the vet to track, and you talk about it, and I really, really appreciate that for you guys, for that.
Absolutely, man. Well, I know you said it really didn't matter, but when I tell you that you gained over 40 points on Joe tonight overall, so it's only a 66-point margin now.
Yeah, that's...
So you're saying there's a chance is the way I'm looking at that. So,
you know what we're going to do, Chris. You've seen me all year long.
Oh, I know.
You've seen the guys. We're going to race hard, race clean, try to be smart, try to stay away from the wrecks, try not to put ourselves in a spot to get wrecked. You know, it's hard to do, especially here at IRSS, especially how fast you're going and the cars just drop out from underneath you.
Right.
Stop. So we're just grateful. Ethan's birthday is today. We got another win. I have a thing of showing up and winning on big time events like people's birthdays. I think this is my 3rd win now on a family member's birthday, or a friend's birthday. So I just really appreciate you guys for everything that you do. And yeah, Joe's. I want to hope the team win the next 2 races, especially with the 22 to close it out at the end.
hey, I look at it like this. It's my job to stir the pot, so I'm gonna keep stirring, okay?
Yeah, you know, but you look and see that you have to work together as a team in these events. You know, you mentioned Torqued Wrench, and I know this interview is getting long, but they've stepped up, and then TNT stepped up. So everybody kind of seen what we were doing. And you see me make some moves tonight to separate the Torque guys as best as I could, because I knew you get 4 or 5 of them together and it's hard to pass, no matter how good you are. They're just really good at working together. They brought Stephen Harry over and stuff, so he made an impact, won the pole. Congrats to him. That team is, you know, Greg Thompson, he's a great racer, smart, knows how to use his temps and push. He ain't no dummy. He's very good at what he does. It's a skill, so we appreciate GLN to be even as good as we are in the standings to where we don't have to really worry about that anymore. We're just gonna go out and perform and do the best we can, brother.
Absolutely.
And put on a great show. Put on a great show for you for the last 2 races, man. Hopefully tonight.
No, it was good. It was a fun show, man. Well, great job. Congratulations. Go enjoy.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Vet to Track victory lane with the Vet to Track driver, the 22 of Travis Gilbert, going to victory lane here for the 6th time this evening, or this season. This evening would be impressive. Point standings, they are up to date. And we got some interesting stuff here. As Jason Branch takes over the points lead for this block of racing over Greg Thompson. Gilbert moves to 3rd. Scott Wise, Eddie Rorardi, your top 5. James Hudson, Joe Wells, Al Lekins, AJ Condon, and Stephen Melnick, your top 10 here in this block of racing with 2 races to go. We'll go to Atlanta next week and then finish it out at Talladega. Overall, Joe Wells leads by 66 points over Travis Gilbert and then everybody else down below. As we go, as I mentioned, to Atlanta next week. Our Hard Charger Award presented by Superior Templating. Tim Shiflett up 11 spots from 14th to 3rd. Congratulations to Tim. He was the Hard Charger tonight, presented by Superior Templating. Man, what a race. Some fun one tonight. 3 cautions, all within about a 10-lap period. Otherwise, it was clean and green to the finish. And a big shout-out to Travis on the win. Jason Branch and Tim Shiflett, great job. If you hear my voice or watch this broadcast, great job in finishing in the 3rd position this evening. All right, big shout out to the viewers for hanging out here on this Tuesday evening. Hopefully you guys stay warm and enjoy your final week of March. Shout out to all the sponsors. Of course, looking at him right in front of me. GB22 for helping out with the Pole Award. Of course, Wise Guy iRacing Graphics, the stage winner. Superior Templating Hard Charger Award, and Bet the Track, of course, the Victory Lane, and the overall sponsorship. Big shout out to Lauren and Scott. Lauren, hope you're doing well. And Scott, obviously, hope you're doing well, too. And, obviously, they do a great job of putting this league together. They've been running a league for years, so it's always been fun to do stuff with them. And, big shout out to those guys. But big shout out to everybody for being a part of this. So, set out. We'll see you next Tuesday night from Atlanta. Otherwise, remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See you.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.